Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to EIA and GBCA workshop on the topic of city life, academic life, and career advice today. I'm Jenny Do, Acting Manager of Partnership and Industry Engagement at EIA, GBCA, and University of Canberra in Melbourne. First of all, thank you everyone for joining our workshop today as usual. In this workshop, we have attendees including cohort of students from our Hoa Shan College, EIA, GPCA, all of our onshore and offshore partner, and also including agent and other students from onshore university in Australia. So this time we are honored to have invited Mr. Richard Simmons to speak about the topic of city life, academic life, and career advice. And in this topic, we will share with you how to adapt in the city life in Australia, in particularly Melbourne, and also show you about the academic life in Australia and what you need to know and what you need to do in terms of seeking for job. So all of this information will be covered in the today workshop. So before starting this workshop, I would like to have a brief introduction about our career services center in EIA, GPCA, and University of Canberra in Melbourne. So our career center provide one-on-one customized career advice support. This includes resume review, CV edition, mock interview, training, and preparation to help you to plan your career future and give professional advice, provide a comprehensive career preparation program, and also internship offer and job opportunity. So if you need any support or help at EIA, GPCA, or UC Melbourne students, so just feel free to contact us at careercenter@eia.edu.au. So I will leave the contact in the chat box so you can contact us through this. Yeah, I just put into the chat box. So now let's come back to our today workshop. And I would like to introduce our presenter today, Mr. Richard Simmons. Richard is a certified trainer and career advisor. He was the senior corporate trainer for many world top 500 companies, including Toshiba, Adidas, Honda, Sony, and Panasonic. He's developed English training material for academic and professional purpose and created an English assessment tool for a major international company. He also has hundreds of international student and graduate find work experience and employment opportunity. He's really expertise in training and development requirements and career advice. So let's join me to welcome Mr. Richard Simmons. And thank you for joining the workshop today, Richard.
All right, thank you.
Now I will hand over to you to start the session. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. And hello, everyone. I'll just share my screen with you. One moment. And we'll get this thing rolling. Okay, there we have it. Now, anyone is welcome to stop me as I'm going through and ask questions. So please feel free to switch off your microphone and say something if you have any questions and whatnot. So today's workshop will be covering city life, academic life, and some career advice. As Jenny mentioned, I'm a career advisor. I've got many years of experience in recruitment, and I know what employers are looking for. Now, just before I continue, if I'm speaking too fast, if you can't understand what I'm saying, please let me know. Please say something and I will change the way I'm speaking just for you. All right, so let's get on board the tram and go for a tour around Melbourne. So we're looking at Melbourne City, and it's a beautiful city indeed. Now, getting around the city, as you can see, there's the transport. Everything is color coded, just like China. The train lines are color coded as well, and these are the basic transports that you will find around Melbourne. The blue, of course, is the train, and then you can see the bus, and the green one is a tram. I'm not sure if you've ever been on a tram, but they are fun. They're electric, and they go all around the city. And also the purple train that you see, that's the one that you take to escape from the city. So when you've had enough of city life and you want to go to the countryside, that's the train you take. And you obviously need to know what that color is, because when you get to the train station and you maybe might forget where you're going, don't take the purple one, because you will end up outside of the city and heading to a destination that you don't know. And it may take you an hour or two to get back. So it's good advice. Also, having a look at the transport around the city. Now, this green area that you're looking at, this is a free tram zone, which means you don't have to pay getting on a tram and traveling around these areas. It's extremely helpful for um, any university student coming into Melbourne and you don't know what ticket to get and whatever else. You may not have money on you at the time, and it's extremely useful. Here are the train stations. We've got Southern Cross Station, Flinders Street Station, Parliament Station, Melbourne Central, and Flagstaff. So these are all the main train stations, and we've got trams running through most of these streets. You see the streets that have the dotted lines. I'm not sure if you can see those, but they are where the trams are running. And of course, the buses as well just run through any of those streets. Um, so we've got easy access to transport, and just to let you know where we're located is exactly there. And regarding the transport, wow, thanks to those lines. uh, we've got two train stations on either side. So it's an easy walk. It's about, I'd say 5-minute walk from each of those train stations. We've got a bus stop just on the corner. So just as you walk out the door, there's a bus stop there. And also out the front, we have a tram as well. So we've got lots of transport just on the doorstep. It's a fantastic location for anyone. Okay, so there's lots of things to see in Melbourne, and there are some beautiful art galleries. I'm looking at the LED lighting here on the left-hand side. That looks fantastic. And below that is a digital gallery, believe it or not. Very interesting. Now, to access this main art gallery, there's Flinders Street Station, if you can remember from the previous map, and you can get there by foot. It's only about a 5-minute walk, I'd say. And also you can take a tram. Now, wow, look at this. There's some great street art. I'm not sure if you're, I don't know, if you like graffiti and whatnot, but there are some very um, talented artists, and they are allowed to paint on the walls. There are some walls on buildings that have been given the okay for them to paint, and as you can see, there's a map of all of these specific places where you can go and see. Just walk around and check out these places. The artwork is truly amazing, of the kind of talent that we have in Melbourne City. And there's some great gardens to check out too. So of course, when you're, had enough of your city life and your study time, and you need to get into the garden and take off your shoes and walk on the grass and look at the birds and whatnot. There are many great gardens around the city that you can, and they're very accessible too. As you can see, the picture at the top there in the center, how close that is to the city. all within 5 minutes of walking time. And of course, you can take a tram to get there. Now, I've got a quick question. This does require either someone to speak up on their microphone or in the chat box. What we're looking at here is this. I've got a question here. Is this a painting, a digital image, or a stone? Can anyone offer some responses to this? What do we think? Now, unfortunately, I can't see the chat box, so
There's one participant called Peter. He says it's stone.
oh, a stone, really? Well, that's a
Yeah,
bit strange.
yeah.
Does anyone say anything else? Painting, digital image? What do you think?
Anyone else? Or glass?
Anyone else?
Or glasses?
Sorry?
Glass.
Glass. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Very good. Anyone else before we continue? Going once, twice, finger on the button.
It's like crystal.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
Yes.
Fantastic. I'd like a crystal like this. Whoever said stone, you are absolutely right. They are opals, and they, as you can see from the map, they are mined in Australia. Queensland and New South Wales is not just the only area, it's also in Western Australia too. But you can buy these in Melbourne, and there's a place, I've got the logo there, Lightning Ridge, and they also have a tour in their shop, and you can go in there and find out all about these gemstones, but they are fantastic, absolutely beautiful. You can buy rings and earrings and all sorts of stuff with this with these gemstones. So I thought I'd just add that to our little workshop to give you an idea of yeah, there we have it, those beautiful gemstones. All right, moving on. The Yarra River is obviously a river, but it goes around Melbourne, and it's a beautiful river. And you can also take one of these, well, it doesn't exactly look like that, but you can take a river cruise up and down the Yarra River. So if you've got a weekend, maybe a Sunday afternoon free, make sure you take a river cruise and take it easy. Sometimes these things can be hired out by a corporation or by a large party group. And if you're celebrating someone's birthday and you have 20 or 30 people, you can hire one of these boats and have a great party on the river. Yeah, so that's another avenue as well. Look at that arrow. What is going on there? All right, I'm moving on. Okay, so some great shopping areas. These are obviously not the only shopping areas, otherwise Melbourne would be quite boring, but it gives you an idea of the huge complexes within the city of so much in regards to fashion shopping and food and whatever you need, it's there. There's no need to go outside of Melbourne to get anything that you want. Now, in regards to international supermarkets, I'm pretty sure that you'll be worried about where you're going to buy your noodles or rice or spice for your hot pot and whatever else that you like. To give you an idea, that map shows quite a number of different Asian supermarkets in the area, and specifically in the area of the university, which is quite handy because during lunchtime you can quickly go down the street and buy what you need, or on your way home. Most of these shops are open fairly late. Um, so there you have it. There are quite a few in the area, and the reason is because there are so many international people living in and around Melbourne. and we have a lot of Chinese, a lot of Korean. There are some Japanese, but mostly a lot of Chinese people living in and around Melbourne. So these supermarkets um, supply all of their needs. I actually like that one, Hometown Asian Supermarket. That's really, really loaded with some great quality stuff. Okay, moving on, academic life, the moment that everyone has been waiting for. Now, I've been to your campus some time ago, and someone told me that you have 40,000 or so students, a huge campus, and it was truly amazing to go on campus, and you've got your own supermarkets and shops and whatnot, and at the time when I went, in fact, you had a really nice perfume shop as well, and I bought a few good things for my wife. So thank you for that. Um, but you know, you've got your own restaurants and whatever, and everything is closed in this little, well, I wouldn't say little, large community. And there's this great community feel, and you know, you're sort of in that one area all the time, and it's rare that any student would go out and visit the local towns because everything is, unless you're going home, of course. Now, comparing that to um, EIA, I mean, look at those buildings, those very small buildings compared to the huge, vast buildings that you have in your own campus. And you're probably wondering, and as I went to your campus, your school, and many students asked me, so, you know, why? Why is it so small? And getting their head around, you know, coming from such a large campus to something that is so small. Um, now, and that brings me to this question here: what can EIA offer students? Um, so, to help answer that question, I've got a couple of points I'd like to bring out now. Because you'll be studying in a smaller campus, doesn't mean that you get any less treatment. It means that you get more treatment. It's more personalized. So you're treated as a person rather than a number. And I know that I've taught many Chinese students, and in fact, many current classes that I've taken. There's 30 or 40 students in a class, and um, it's difficult at times to remember students' names, and I'll just say, oh, number 45, number 50, number 5, or whatever it is, and everyone knows their number. And it's not the same as when you know your number to someone calling you by your name and treating you like a person. And being on a campus that is smaller means that you'll get that one-on-one attention with your teacher. And that's a you can't pay for that kind of experience. You can ask your teacher personally, hey, I've got a question, and you get that direct feedback rather than being this number that the teacher doesn't know who you are, they don't know your personality. You can't have a joke with your teacher because you're just a number. But being on a smaller scale campus, it means that you have that kind of a relationship with your teacher. The other thing is that it's personalized learning. And as I was talking about before, having that connection with your teacher and them understanding you, they understand your communication abilities or lack of, they understand your way of learning and your needs, and therefore can tailor what you need in order to improve or advance how you're learning. So it's a very unique learning environment. And also you have a smaller learning community. And I think the key thing is here is that you're not just studying with only Chinese students. You're in an international community. So you're mixing with students from different nationalities. And that helps to build your communication skills and what is called intercultural communication skills, which is the ability to adapt your language skills to suit not just a native English speaker, but someone who is also studying English or who has studied English before. It's not their native language, but they may have their own um, language issues or accent issues, and you have to adapt and be sensitive to them as you're communicating. And these are global skills um, that you can't get when you're only studying on a campus with your own nationality as such. Okay, and of course there's easy city access as we saw before, because on the doorstep you have the bus and the tram, and also the trains are located about 5 minutes away. Okay, so, and as I mentioned, by studying in Australia, but also at EIA, you get that international experience, that mixture of different nationalities, and therefore you get your professional development as part of your package. Um, and the key thing about that is your personal development. Now, these skills are extremely important, and I'm thinking about it from a career advice aspect. These are all the skills that employers are looking for, not just in Australia, but globally. They want people to be independent. And if you're not independent now, um, studying in Australia makes you independent. You have to have that ability to get out there and do it yourself. There is a time when someone is holding your hand, and yes, you can do it, but then there's a time when they have to go, let you go, and you go for it, and you can do it yourself. Um, so studying here also helps to develop your assertiveness, your ability to initiate and take the lead, building your confidence, and as I mentioned before, your intercultural communication skills, and that is the ability to communicate not just with English native speakers, but also students who are coming from other countries that have also studied English as a second language. And there we have it. You'll graduate. Okay, moving on. So, can anyone tell me what is unique about this learning style? The woman wearing glasses, obviously she's the teacher, and everyone's sitting close to her, and she's just explaining something. Can anyone tell me some ideas that you may have? What is unique? I know that in China, unless it's an English class, where you may have a foreign teacher, and their communication style might be very similar to this, unless it's something like that, if it's a specific subject that you're learning, usually the teacher stands at the front, you're all sitting down, and blah, blah, blah. He or she says something, and you just have to listen and write or type, um, and then hope for the best. And there's that disconnect between you and the teacher, because there's that distance, and the teacher is up here and you're down here and talking in that way. But this is a different learning style. Can anyone give me some ideas in the chat box? And Jenny, if you're still there, let me know if anyone is giving any comments regarding this. I'm very interested to know what people think of this unique learning style.
Hi, you all can leave the message in the chat box so I can transfer the message to Richard.
Thank you. I can't see the chat box, so I'm just
Yes.
relying on Jenny to communicate that to me. Anyone out there? Hello?
Hello?
No
Anyone?
one? Let me give you an idea. Obviously, we have group work, which is a key thing, because group work is developing your not just your communication skills, but your leadership skills as well. Anyone else? No? Everyone's pretty quiet today.
Um,
Okay, I'm going to
There's
give you.
one
Yep.
participant right in the chat board. A good part-time job? Question mark. I think a bit.
We will get there in a moment. Don't worry.
Yes.
That's coming next. Okay, I'm going to
Yes.
move on. Now, this is where you get to give your opinions and share your ideas because you're communicating in a smaller group, not a large class where you have 30 or 40 students and you can't get a word in. You'll be studying in smaller classes, and therefore there's that personal connection between you and the teacher, and you can share your ideas um, with not just the teacher but also the other students and give your opinions.
Mm.
This one here is a key thing, and that is to think for yourself. So instead of having someone telling you what to say or worried about, oh, what do I say here? In this kind of learning environment, especially in Australia, the teaching approach is to get the students to think for themselves, to think of ideas, to think of how to do something better. And this is what is developing um, your global skills, because only being in China, everyone's telling you what to do. And then when you come to Australia, it's almost the opposite, where they're not so much telling you what to do, they're just asking you, what should we do? And you have to think for yourself. Okay, moving on.
Lucy just leave a message. She
Okay,
said it can give us a chance to exchange information with foreign teachers.
that's
Yeah.
true. Absolutely, yes.
Mm.
And the other point I made here is first names. So instead of calling your teacher, professor, whatever, or just even teacher, uh, you may forget you may not even know your teacher's name, and you just say teacher, teacher, teacher. Whereas when you're working and studying in a smaller group, you're on first name basis with your teacher. And that's a great thing because you have a personal relationship, a closer relationship with your teacher. They know you, you know them. First names is very unique. Okay, now jumping through to written assignments. That arrow is fantastic, by the way. It actually points exactly where I want to talk about. Now, ResearchGate is one of the websites that I use when I'm doing if I'm doing some assignments or something, because I'm also studying as well. I've taken on an extra course, and I think it's great to develop professionally and continue to learn as much as you can. And ResearchGate, of course, it's not the only website because there are so many out there, and you'll have access to a wide variety of different resources to get your information from. Now, there is a reason I've shown you ResearchGate today, and it's coming up very soon. But what I want to show you is I've highlighted this journal that I found on ResearchGate, and I've highlighted it in blue, as you can see. And on the left-hand side is my assignment. As you can see, it's basically, I've done this. I've highlighted it, I've copied it, and I've pasted it into my assignment. And my question is this okay? I'm asking you. Can we have any answers in the chat box? Is this okay? I'm waiting on you.
Is this okay, anyone?
They're
No,
too
it's very
afraid to
quiet.
say.
They say no, it's not okay.
Okay. Well, anyone who said no, you are absolutely right. In Australia, um, the academic uh, field is not just at this university, but it's basically every university, every school that is that considers themselves in the academic environment. Um, they consider this as an absolute no-no and are very, very strict about it. In fact, Most schools have a 0% tolerance on plagiarism. And plagiarism is about no cheating, no copying like I just showed you, and no sharing of work. So unless the teacher says you can work together in your group, if the teacher doesn't say that, then it means that you're sharing your work with other students. It's called um, something or other like collaboration or collusion. I think that's the word that they use. So it's very important to follow the style guides. I've written there APA and Harvard, and there are many others. Excuse me for a second. Um, Yeah, so it's very important to follow those style guides, and the university will provide a style guide, and you can find them on the internet as well to make sure that you're following the correct style for your citations and your referencing. Okay, to give you an idea, um, now most universities will either use Turnitin or another program that is very similar. Now, this gives you an idea that when they're looking at your assignment and you have submitted this online, it will come up with a report and all of these different colors that they've highlighted. And this shows you a similarity. It doesn't mean plagiarism, it means similar. Now, the difference between the two, it is only plagiarized if you didn't reference something. So you can say exactly the same words and it could be a quotation, for example, or you can rewrite the words, but it's because it's from someone's idea. If you don't cite that and say exactly where you got it from, what book or what author, then that's plagiarism.
Jen,
Now,
I think a
yes,
student asking some questions. They want to know what is APA.
APA is a style guide. Um, if you look that up on the internet, APA, it will have the 7th edition. I think that's the latest one at the moment. I think most universities will use the Harvard system, and the styles are just slightly different. So it's extremely important that when you are creating, let's say, a reference list, and let's say the university, when you're studying your unit, they might give you a list of, let's say, readings, for example, and they are nicely presented and you think, okay, that looks good, and I'll copy that into my assignment. You need to make sure that those references are um, correct in regards to either if it's an APA style or a Harvard style or whatever style it might be for creating that reference list. Otherwise, they might have very small things like a comma or a dot or a, bold this, and very small different things are different in compared to, let's say, APA or Harvard or whatever else is out there. Okay. Now, as you can see, if I'll just quickly show you this, there is a percentage mark given for the amount of similarity found in this assignment. And it's highlighted, and each color represents a different percentage. Now, the teacher will go through your assignment, a report just like this, and see, is it plagiarism or is it just similarity? They will check to see if you have referenced correctly or not. Some students panic and they think, oh my God, it's 69%. But you just need to make sure that you have referenced correctly according to the style guide that the university or the teacher says. According to maybe your assignment details, it will say, please use APA or Harvard or whatever it might be. Okay, so, and you can, most of the time you can download this report. I think the key thing is that to note And when you are submitting your assignments, sometimes the teacher doesn't let you have the opportunity to keep it as a draft. And when you submit the work, it's gone. And there's no chance of getting it back. And when you get the report, it's 99%, and you're in trouble. So I recommend a program called Grammarly. Uh, I'm not endorsing the product, and I certainly don't get any money from them for promoting them. So don't get me wrong. Grammarly is good because not only it will check your grammar, it will help um, identify places where you can make your writing more concise. So if you are using too many words to explain something, it can give you suggestions of how to make it shorter. It may suggest a word that might replace several words. The other thing that Grammarly has, and that is a plagiarism checker. And you can check your work against other works out there on the internet, and it will give you a report. So if you have, there is a free version, but there's also a paid version. If you get the paid version, it means that you have access to that report and the specific details. So very similar to what you see here with Turnitin, you'll have with Grammarly. Whereas if you only use the free online service, it will tell you that you have some kind of like a summary report of you have 20 grammar mistakes, or you have 50% of plagiarism, for example, but it won't tell you anything specific. It won't give you a report where you can find out where that information is. You really have to have the paid version of that. And I totally recommend it because it would save you a lot of pain, a lot of worry about your assignments and how much plagiarism that you may have. All right, so moving on. Now, in regards to referencing, this is a trick that I usually make, and that's I'll just quickly go through it, but the reason I do this is because sometimes I'm not sure myself of how to organize the information. And I find ResearchGate, is extremely useful because it provides most of the time, I should say, at least 98% of the time, it will provide a citation. So whenever I'm using ResearchGate, I will, and I've used, let's say, a document from there, I'll download the citation, which I'm highlighting for you now, and it will come up with this pop-up box, which you see the second box there. And I'll click on this plain text, and then I'll click this copy to clipboard, and then I will paste this into my assignment under the references. Now, I can't guarantee that reference that's highlighted in yellow is APA or Harvard or whatever style it is. And when I put the information into my assignment of who said what, I always have to check the style guide. You can't take it for granted that, oh, this is APA or this is Harvard. And just believe what someone tells you from the internet. You have to go through that style guide and check it. But at least you don't have to type it up, and you can copy and paste and move things around because it's already there. A lot of students use Google Scholar because it has the same kind of download the citation access as well. And there are other websites that you can look up, and you can copy and paste for example, here it says the DOI. If I'm not sure if you can see that, but underneath the date of this journal on that side there, DOI, you can sometimes paste that in, or even the website address of where you got your document from, and it will find it. and also provide a citation as well. So if you're having trouble um, knowing where to place the information, this is a quick way to do it. And then check your style guide to make sure that everything is in order. And it could be something very simple as the commas are not right, or there needs to be a dot in there, or some brackets or square things, or whatever it may be. But it can save a lot of time. Okay, moving on, we're talking about some career advice. And this poor guy says, I graduated 8 years ago and I still can't get a job. Now, if this is you, you seriously need to get some career advice. And I've met many students, many graduates who have been in the same position, who they've got their qualifications, but they can't get a job. They can't find a good job. Um, and they may have all the great qualities, but they just can't write, let's say, that cover letter or that resume that they need in order to. So going back to what Jenny said before regarding the career service that EIA have, or GBCA, definitely take them up on that offer. Have them look at a job that you want to apply for. Have them look at your documents and see if you're writing everything that the employer is looking for. If you miss something, then you're not promoting yourself in the best way. So here is some key career advice that I'm going to give you. Now, on the left-hand side, I've written what are employers looking for? Now, they want someone who is independent. Um, Independent means you can work on your own. You don't need someone holding your hand. Obviously, you need to learn how to do the job, but once that process is finished, you can then go and do it yourself. You don't need someone to be there to do something with you. So they're looking for someone who is assertive. So assertive and initiative sort of go together. Someone who is willing to go ahead and do something on their own, for example, or take the initiative, just go and do it, be the first person to do that. So to give you an example, it could be something very small, like there's some boxes on the floor, and obviously the person who left them there need to put them in a place that's safe, or the contents need to be put in on the shelving, or whatever it might be. Some people may just stand back and look at those boxes and say, yeah, someone should do something about that. Or you could be assertive and use your initiative and go and get those boxes, unload them, put them on the shelves, or put them in a safe place. And that's what employers are looking for, someone who will get in there and do the job and don't have to be told what to do all the time. And employers really dislike that, like, hey, you, what are you doing there? You should be, they don't want that. They want to have relief in their mind and think, okay, um, I've employed Lynn today, and I feel good about her. She's a good worker, and I don't have to think about what she's doing because I know she's working for me. She's doing something and she's got my interests in her mind, and she's working as hard as she can go. So I don't have to check on her to see if she's doing a good job or not. I just know it. And you can show your boss this, who you are and your characteristics and what is called your work ethic. And this is all tied into how you do your job. Now, a willingness to learn. So not just what you have to do and looking in the silo and I don't want to know anything else, but learning about other things that relate to your job. And the more you learn about things that relate, and then the other things that relate to those things, and further, you can expand your opportunities in any job because you're showing your initiative to know more, and employers like that. and they'll give you an opportunity to do something different so that you're not doing the same boring thing all the time. Asking questions is a key thing. A lot of international students will just nod their head. Do you understand? This is a big machine. You need to operate it. If you don't understand how to use it, you could lose an arm, maybe your head. And the students are like, I got it. And then before you know it, something crazy happens because some people are afraid to ask questions. They think that if they ask questions, they may lose their job. But employers actually like people, new people especially, to ask questions, because asking questions means that you get the knowledge, and then therefore you keep the knowledge and you can do the job better. It's better to ask questions than not, because at the end of the day, if you don't ask the questions and something happens, you're in trouble. Yes, someone had a question. No, was that a false alarm? Maybe. Anyway, please interrupt at any time, anyone, please interrupt. I'm happy to answer questions as we go. So employers are still looking for dedicated people and reliable. Reliable means that you always come to work on time, and it's not just exactly on time, but employers here prefer people to come to work 10 minutes, sometimes even 20 minutes early, just to make sure that you get there on time. And also they're looking for someone who's easy to get along with. So have a joke rather than, how are you today? And no response, no personality. They want someone with a personality, someone who can have a joke but also be serious about their job at the same time. And the last one, humble, is a key thing. Now, humbleness is about not boasting about, um, for example, oh, my dad just bought a condo, or, we own 50 million companies in China or something. um, it's a funny thing about in Australia and employers, they won't employ someone who doesn't need the job. So if you promote the fact that your parents may be rich or you may have lots of resources or something, they will see that as a negative, and they won't employ you because obviously you don't need the money. So being humble is also about what you wear. And I know if you look over at point number 5, it says, do not show your wealth. I know that the people in Shanghai, for example, they like to wear the most expensive clothes, and they've got the $500 pair of shoes, or whatever it may be. It's a good thing in Australian culture to not show your wealth, not wear so many expensive things, especially around the workplace, because your boss may not even have that kind of money. Your co-workers may not have that kind of money, and they might feel awkward, or this far away from you, or disconnect. Um, so my advice is to try and be as humble as you can. And even as you get to know someone, and try to keep those things in your personal life as quiet as possible, and focus on the job completely. Now, having a look at the things that you need to do, the first one here, I'm pretty sure that many people will be thinking, hang on, what's wrong with my QQ.com email? Well, I've seen a lot of QQ emails, and they're just a bunch of numbers. You might have 10 or so numbers. Um, I don't know where you get those from. Maybe the university gives them to you, or something. Don't use those, because if an employer has to type your email in and they're looking at all of those numbers, If they have to take more than, I don't know, 20 seconds to get your information from your resume, for example, they'll just move your resume out into the garbage bin and get someone's resume that is clear for them, quickly get their information, and away you go. Now, the other reason about your email is that it's an email that is used in China. And if you're using an email that is, let's say, a Western email, it could be Gmail or Outlook or Hotmail or whatever it may be. If you're using a Western email, then that sends an image that you are able to speak English, read English, because you have to go onto the English website to create um, that email address. And that's a very, very simple thing, but in their minds, they're thinking, okay, this person is more um, connected to our culture than being fresh off the aeroplane and doesn't know what to do, for example. Number two, get some related experience. So employers in this country like someone who has done a similar job, or um, a job that has similar skills or knowledge that can be brought into the job that you may be applying for. Number three, make friends and create networks. Now, if you remain in your close Chinese little groups because everyone is your friend and you feel comfortable and you don't have to, uh, you know, practice your English as much, this is a negative for you. It it's a positive for you if you are new and you don't know what you're doing and it's comfortable learning these new things with your friends. That's great, but at the same time, it is extremely important that you um, develop your confidence to make friends and to create a network of people that you know, and they know you, and they know what you're good at and whatnot, because those people will promote you. Um, Now, the ability to make friends is not just for your school life, but when you're in the new job that you want, for example, it's your ability to go around and say, "Hey, my name is Lynn. Hey, my name's Jenny," and and do it yourself. Don't expect your employer to walk around and say, "Hey, this is Richard. He's new in the workplace, and I want you to make him feel really good." Most employers won't do that. You will have to do it yourself. So developing those skills from the beginning are extremely important. Okay, so I've already mentioned number five, and the last one, stepping stones. Jobs get better jobs. Now, there's two things regarding this. The first one is exactly what it says here. Don't expect to get a high paid job after you graduate. Don't have that mindset in. I mean, there are people that do get high paid jobs, and that's great. But imagine that you've just come out of university, you have no experience. You may have university experience, but you have no real work experience. And therefore, you can't say, "Hey, I deserve a $100,000 job because I've got this qualification." It doesn't work that way. It only works when you start from a level that is, let's say, you will find jobs on the internet that say entry level or a graduate role or graduate position. Entry level means you're starting here and the top paid jobs are up here somewhere. And you have to work from the ground and work your way up and up and up and up and up and up until you reach that level that you really want. And that's why I call it stepping stones, because you work in one job to start with, excuse me, your base job, and you expand on it as much as you can and learn as much as you can about this job and try to broaden the scope of this job to make it bigger than what it really is. And then because of all of those different experiences and skills and knowledge that you've gained, you can then apply for a job that utilizes all of those, and keep doing that until you reach the level that you want. Okay. And I forgot the other point I wanted to mention. Oh, I've got it. When you are when you are jumping from one job to the next, it is best to stay in the job that you have, even if you hate it, even if it is the worst job in the world and your hair is falling out. Stay in that job until you can move to the next one. And in Australia, the employers think that while you are employed, you are employable. So if you don't have a job, it's harder to get a job when you have nothing. Um, if you don't have a job, it's best to do something, either an internship or a volunteer opportunity, work experience, or something um, for a non-profit organization, because there are rules against working as a volunteer in this country. But you can work for a non-profit to get work experience. And while you're getting this work experience, no matter what it is, as long as you're there, it means that you are those things on the left-hand side: independent, assertive, you're using initiative, you're willing to learn, you're reliable, you're dedicated, easy to get along with. You're all of those things, and the employers will consider what you're currently doing and think, yeah, okay, I'll give this guy a go, or I'll give her a go. But if you're not doing anything and you've finished school and you're waiting for that golden opportunity, they will look at the gap between you finishing your schoolwork to what you're doing now, which is nothing, to the job that you're waiting for. They'll look at this and say, what are you doing in this time? And if you're doing nothing, that is a negative. So make sure you go and do something, an internship, um, a volunteer job, something that will get you that practical employment experience that you need. It may not be exactly related to your field, but as long as it is work experience, because you need to show your work ethic, the type of character that you have, that you are reliable and dedicated. Okay, just quickly moving on. I know that we're running out of time now. Every
Richard, I think there's one question from the
Yep.
student in regarding do not use the qq.com email. One student asking, what if I use my name as my QQ email address?
Yeah, I think that'd be okay. I
Yeah.
think the key thing is those numbers there. Um,
But they also have the option to put their name.
yeah, I'd definitely change it to your name if you have that option. Absolutely, because you need to make it as professional as possible.
Yeah. Okay. Thank
Okay,
you.
so for each job that you apply for, it is a guarantee that you will need a cover letter and a resume. Some jobs, if you're looking for, someone yelled out before, a part-time job, sometimes you can just give your resume to the shop owner and say, here's my resume, give me a call if you've got anything. And that is okay in some casual or part-time jobs. But in most jobs, you will need, if you're looking for a professional job, it'll be a cover letter and a resume. Now, there's some very key things about these documents. Employers will be looking at these documents, and if it's not easy to find who is sending these documents, and this is where they will look, they will basically throw it out, put it in the garbage bin, if they can't find this very basic information. The other information they need is, why are you applying for the job? And these are the two places where they will look. Usually in the first paragraph or so of your cover letter, and usually in the objective section of your resume, they will have the reasons why you're applying for the job. Now, with your resume, if you apply for, different jobs, your resume needs to change, because that objective needs to match the job you're applying for. And also, the employers will look on both of these documents and find out how your skills and experience and your education match the job that you're applying for. And these are the areas that they will find this information. If they have to look for this information and spend lots of time because your documents are hard to navigate, they will put those documents in the round filing cabinet found on the floor over there, called the garbage bin or the dust bin, if you want to get technical. Okay, so my advice, go and see the Careers Centre and they will help you with both of these documents, especially when you're applying for a job. Okay, now just the last piece of advice I wanted to give you before we finish up. There are many, lots and lots of job search engines out there, and I've given you two of my favorites, Seek and Indeed. Now, the reason I've given you these two is because Seek is a paid service. So the employers will pay for this, putting their jobs and they're advertising their jobs. So they've got the money behind them to advertise. And the companies that will usually use Seek are those that have they're medium to large scale companies. Indeed is a free service, and therefore medium to small companies will use that because they don't have to pay, and it will include more casual and part-time jobs. However, it also pulls in job advertisements from other search engines as well, and you will see a lot more advertisements there. So that's where you can find a job. And the other one is you've got those two people talking, and this is where I was talking in regards to networking and building your friends base. Most jobs are found, at least 50% of jobs are found through word of mouth. So talking to your friend, they may be working in the same place, or they may hear about a job and just tell you, and you're like, oh, I'll get my resume ready. And they can even promote you for a job through referring you to their employer. So I've just put a note here, not your QQ email. If you change the numbers to your name, perfect, do that. And also there's an online service called LinkedIn. As you get further into your qualification, your degree or master's or whatever it may be, a good thing is to create a professional profile on LinkedIn. It's where you put your photo and your career history, and also it's kind of like having a resume online. Employers will go to this website to see what your background is and what you have to offer. And you can recommend other people and also list your skills on this website as well. Okay, sorry, word of mouth, that's the key point there. So if you do all of those things, you'll be hired. And thank you, everyone. We wish you great success in achieving all of your personal and professional goals. And that's the end of the workshop today. Does
Thank
anyone
you.
have any questions before we finish?
Yes, thank you, Richard, for the great presentations. So now we will have the quick Q&A section. Do you have any questions to Mr. Richard? Just leave your message in the chat pod, or you can raise your hand. You can unmute and ask questions. Anyone?
It's pretty quiet.
Yes. Is
Now,
there any questions?
I'll be giving some careers workshops next week, and I do have a handout to give. So if anyone is interested in learning how to apply for a job and go through that process, come to those workshops and you'll get one of those. All right, so questions, anyone?
Is there any questions? Oh, yeah. Peter asking, how do you view the education industry?
In regards to getting a job, or in regards to studying?
For
For a career. It's the best. It's definitely an industry that the government invests in, but also there is quite a few There's quite a few students out there, so there's a lot of money in the education industry. So it is an avenue to go into. And of course, it's very important. It's very important to take on a qualification that you can, if you can imagine putting your finger, it's an idiom. So if anyone is aware of this idiom, putting your finger in every pie. So for me, for example, I've got a qualification in human resource management, right? So I've got training and development. I can do teaching because of that. I can do recruitment. I can do human resource management stuff or project management. There are many things that I can do because of this qualification. So if you're looking at a particular industry, make sure that it's not just a narrow focus, that your qualification and the type of experience that you get is broad, because sometimes that job opportunity may be lost. And because you've done all of your work experience in the education industry, some employers will say, well, hang on, your skills or your knowledge doesn't match this area here. So be aware of that as well. But yeah, to answer your question, the education industry is a good one to get into. Anyone else for a question?
Is there any more questions to Richard? Peter say thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, I think we are about done as we are running out of time now. So thank you, Richard, for delivering this very useful session. I think we believe this workshop is will benefit and broaden our audience knowledge today. And like what Richard mentioned just now for his upcoming workshop, we also have scheduled with more distinguished upcoming workshop by professor and industry speaker in the following week to cover more and more topics. So please follow our EIA social media platform and secure your time for all the next upcoming workshop. So for your information, this workshop has been recorded and will be uploaded on our EIA website. And you are only welcome to visit our website to review the video again. And thank you everyone again for joining the workshop today. I hope you all enjoy this useful session, and we are looking forward to seeing you again soon for our next upcoming workshop.